We're going to go ahead and just get started. So, welcome to today's webinar, Engaging Parents in the Age of AI. As you guys know, this is part of our series that we've done for the last 5 years. And I'm always excited to bring great topics to you and to talk about things that are really on the front of everybody's mind. It's on my mind, so I knew it had to be on the mind of other people. How are we engaging parents in the age of AI? Next slide, please, Lori. You guys know how we do this. For those of you guys who are new, we have our agreements, and this is how we attempt to create a sort of safe space. It really encourages you to be brave in that space. So we have these agreements here. And the first one is speak from your own experience using I statements. So as you have the opportunity to share today, don't talk about other people, talk about your own stuff, because that's what we want to know and hear about. And then follow the golden rule, treat other people the way you want to be treated. This wraps up all of our cafe agreements because we hold space there. And we use that space not to give advice, not to judge, not to, you know, tell what we hear. It's really a safe space. We want this to be a safe space. And then full presence. If you're here, really be here. I mean, even 1 hour, you signed up, come get all this great information, hear what other people are talking about, because it may be something that you also want to talk about if you're here. So you might as well be present. And then if you need a minute, take a minute. I see you guys putting agree in the chat. Yay! Keep going with the I agree, I agree. And remember, there is a little carrot that says host and panelists or everyone. Make sure that you're sending to everyone so that it only goes to us. Okay. I'm super excited. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for keeping the space safe with us. Fantastic. Okay, Lori, you ready? So today we are talking about engaging families in the age of AI. And first of all, let me just say this. I came with this topic because this is like on the forefront of the minds with so many parents, including myself. My children are grown, but I have like these four wonderful little Misha babies who are fantastic. And I worry about AI. I worry about them with AI. I worry about myself with AI, becoming too dependent on it. Just so many things are popping up in my mind. And so I thought it'd be great to bring to this conversation some of our NPCLT parent leaders to have this conversation with me. And so the first one is Laura Barna. And Laura is a parent leader, a life coach, holistic wellness practitioner who believes that healing, connection, and community are at the heart of strong families. She is a proud parent of three beautifully spicy children. She brings lived experience, authenticity, and compassion to every conversation about parenting, resilience, and navigating life's unexpected transitions. As a member of the National Parent Cafe leadership team with Bishop Family, she is passionate about elevating parent voice, fostering authentic relationships, and empowering families to recognize the strengths they already possess. She brings a unique perspective that blends experience, professional coaching, and a holistic approach to well-being, reminding others that meaningful transformation begins with connection to ourselves, to one another, and to our communities. The other wonderful person with us is Marisol Abada Rogel, and she was born and raised in Mexico City and holds a bachelor's degree in business admin from the Universidad del Valle de Mexico. I screwed that up. University of Mexico. After living in Oklahoma for years, she now calls Chicago home. We're happy to have her here. She's passionate about supporting families in immigrant communities. And Marisol has dedicated her career to protecting children from abuse and neglect and ensuring families have access to the resources they need to flourish. As an advocate, a facilitator, and a mother, Marisol believes strong families are the foundation of thriving communities and is committed to creating inclusive spaces where parents, caregivers, and children feel supported and valued. And she is also a very valued member of the Be Strong Families National Parent Cafe Leadership Team. So do me a favor and join me in welcoming these two wonderful women. to today's conversation. So I want to kick off today's conversation with this question. And I'm going to drop it in the chat too. So please feel free to answer the question. What's one word you use to describe how AI feels in your life right now and why that word? I've dropped it in the chat because I want you guys to be a part of today's conversations too. So, what's one word you'd use to describe how AI feels in your life right now and why that word? Marisol and Laura, weigh in.
I think that I will use the word, I don't know if I only have one word for that, but uh, cautious. I
Gosh.
guess I would use cautious. Because while I recognize the value of AI, I also recognize the many risks that AI brings with it.
Yeah.
So I will leave it like that because I bet that we're going to expand, as we go along.
Thank you. Okay, Laura, what about you?
I'm gonna go with complex because the way I look at it is like Shrek. A layer,
Okay.
AI is like an onion. It has layers, just like ogres have layers. Donkey. That's the biggest way I look at it. Is it's complex. There's so many different layers into safety and communication and all the things. So you can't just look at one aspect of it.
Yeah, agreed. I am looking at these words in the chat and thinking that so many of them, I resonate with so many of them. Um, I also feel very annoyed. Like, if I could use a hashtag, I would say I would put all these words into one long sentence. Hashtag a bit concerning, very helpful but scary, helpful but intrusive. Totally. Because the fact that my phone is now like, oh, we're just gonna switch you to AI. I have like dreaded that and tried to change my updates so that it doesn't immediately take me to AI. And now all of a sudden, my phone is completely AI. I'm like, what the? I didn't ask for this. If I Google something and say, hey, Google, now it gives me this long, I'm like, I didn't ask for this. My laptop, I didn't ask for this. So I feel like a lot of the words that people are saying in the chat really resonate with me. So often we hear, I don't know about you guys, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Um, I've heard parents share some of these same things. I've also heard them being afraid of AI. And I just want to preface this by saying, guys, to the audience, to our viewing audience, we are parents and staff sharing from our perspectives. So we are not AI like tech people. We're not AI experts. So we're not coming from that platform. I just want to put that out there so nobody's like, oh, I thought they were going to teach us about AI. We're not. We're having the conversation. But I realize that a lot of parents are very fearful of AI. And I'm thinking when parents say that when parents are expressing their fears and concerns, I'm wondering what they're really protecting. Like, what are they really afraid of when um, when they're expressing their concerns about AI? So if I ask you about AI, because we talked a little bit before we started today's webinar, what before learning about AI, what worried you most as a parent, or what worries you most as a parent? And either one of y'all can answer.
I will share that from my side. One of the biggest concerns for me is the amount of things that can be created, in daily basis, how easy that can be, and the access. that children can have,
Mm,
because all that data that gets created, right? All those programs and access that we have to things are not necessarily good all the time.
mhm.
And so nowadays, AI can make look like smoking or using drugs or any other, behaviors that we are trying to keep our children away from, like it's a cool thing, or hide
Mhm.
it, for us parents to realize that whatever kids are having access to have those intents. So I think for me, that was or has been one of the biggest things, the what is my child exposed to with AI?
Yeah, that's real, Marisol. Thank you. That's very real. Because when you think about it, it's like AI is, it's we were already using AI. It was already a part of our lives anyway. It's been sneaking up in little ways. And so now it's now it's here. It's here in full force. Did you want to weigh in, Laura?
I think I'd probably piggyback a little bit off of what Marisol said. It's the misinformation. Like, how do I know what I'm getting is accurate? How do I know what my children are getting is accurate? The videos, the pictures, the information. Like, are there sources? Do my kids know how to check that? There's, I don't know, a lot of information that comes through that you have to really know how to sift through. And kids don't know how to do that. They kind of take everything at face value sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I have the same concerns for my Misha babies. I, I feel like it gives it gives people too much access to them. Um, Not even just like data, but just too much access to my Misha babies, which are, for those of you guys who don't know, those are my grands, but they can't call me grand because I'm not ready for that yet. But I'm afraid of access because there's a lot of weird people out there who do strange things to children. And when my Misha babies are concerned, that's what I'm afraid of. But let me ask you guys, when you guys hear, when parents say, and this is to everybody, you guys, our viewing audience too, I'm going to drop in the chat. When parents say AI is dangerous, what are they actually protecting?
I think that depends on the parent. For me personally, I look at that question and I think safety, right? The safety of my information, the safety of my children's information, the safety of, I mean, even our web history and our browsing. Also, I don't know about you guys, but my kids will put anything and everything out there sometimes, even though we've talked about AI safety, right? So, like, don't include your school name in there. Be like, don't say my friend Michelle did X, Y, and Z, right? Like, it's a safety component for my family. Like, we just want to make sure you're getting the right information safely without giving too much of yourself away. So there's a protection there.
Yeah, yeah, same.
I think that's for me. I mean, I do agree with Laura. I think that that's part of what I get concerned too. But as a mother of a teenager, I think that also something that I get worried is my daughter going to be lured into meet somebody, right, that she shouldn't.
Mm,
I know that she enjoys, games online and even her friends, playing with her friends online. Um, but online also can make pretend friends, what I will call them, right? That you don't know them, who they are really, if they are
mhm.
just adults disguising themselves as children. And personally, to me, that's also one of the biggest concerns, right? Although I have to say that um, having open conversations with my daughter, about that has made a big difference.
Mhm.
Um, and being there as a parent, right? Like not taking games as a babysitter, um, just being there, frequently in
Mm-hmm.
different ways that my teenager would allow me, or that not, feel that I'm invading her privacy too. But I'm still the mother, so I think it's my responsibility. And as I give space to her, I'm also there checking what is she having is getting into in general with
Mm-hmm.
AI.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Agreed. You are definitely the mom, and I feel like you. I'm like, what are you watching? What are you doing? What are you open that door? Do you guys remember when computers first came, like the World Wide Web, and they were like, don't let your kids put their computers in their bedrooms, have them out in front of everybody. I remember that, like to keep them safe, so they because they'd have access, and now it feels like we're giving them a lot more access, and not able to always to control it the way we maybe used to be able to control it. So let's talk a little bit about. Oh, no, I had another question before that. So when you hear AI will make kids stop thinking, what values are parents protecting? When you hear AI will make kids stop thinking, what are your
I
thoughts on that?
personally, I look at critical thinking skills. I look at research
Mhm.
skills. I mean, I grew up as the World Wide Web was starting. Like I was the kid you were trying to protect and keep the bedroom computers away. So, but like I still had to go to the library or rent books and look up stuff. And that
Mhm.
research skills I feel like have slowly been depleting in kids as I've watched my kids grow up. And I've had to really have lots of conversations about what it means to have critical thinking and emotional intelligence and research skills, and not to have that in, what's the word for it? Immediate gratification that our culture has, not only around shopping, but now around research and information, right? Like, how do you vet that so that you know what you're getting is true instead of just believing what you see? That's a value of like just being able to independently find what you need without depending on a fast technology.
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
I think that I also I totally agree with Laura. And I will add like just basic skills, and social skills. Like
Mhm.
um I know that with the pandemic, world change and we adapt and everything went to online and our children need some skills and then gain others. Um, but I think that with AI, making things so easy or apparently easy, right?
Mhm.
That is one of the risks that I think on those skills as also research, but also being able to socialize, right?
Mhm.
Engage with people too, with
Yeah.
real people. And in real world, you need to have engage appropriately with others, right?
Mhm.
Um, and also I agree, like the critical thinking, right?
Mhm.
That's also something crucial
Yeah.
when they are in real world, right? At school and just
Mhm.
jobs and etc. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I see people in the chat totally agreeing with you guys. Uh, and it's interesting that as I'm listening to you guys, the things that as I'm listening to you all and as I'm reading the chat, I'm thinking to myself, wow, these are the same things I'm thinking about for myself. Do you know? There was a big push. I remember when the AI like popped up on the scene, this like the chats, right? Maybe about a
Mhm.
year or so ago. And my sister was calling her chat bay. And I was like, why are we using this? Like,
Mhm.
why, and
Mhm.
she's like, she's trying to bring me on board. And I was like, so then I don't think for myself. When we started using it at work, I was like, I don't want it to not be able to think for myself anymore. I don't want to da 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 da. All these things that I was thinking about, I think it's changed a little bit. So after you've used AI, because AI has popped up for you all in different ways, what are some benefits, or how has your use with AI, whether it's uh, a lot or a little, how has it changed some of your views, like what you're worried about with your kids or with yourself? Or is it pretty much the same? Or where's your line right now with AI?
Um, I think that now to me, um, I think that it depends from where I see it, right? On what situation and am I on, that I might be taking the same stand. Um, However, it does have changed, right? I recognize that AI can be helpful in
Mm-hmm.
my regular family life, giving me back some time that I can use
Yeah.
to uh, to take care of my family and to take care of myself as a mother, as a woman, as a professional, as a friend, because I can use it to complete repetitive tasks that can make my life easier. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time, with my daughter, I'm almost in the same position, right? Because AI keeps evolving. As we are talking here, there are people who are creating more AI who
Mm-hmm.
could be amazingly beneficial and also very hurtful for people in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things though that I try to remember very frequently is that the relationship that I have built with my daughter since she
Mm-hmm.
was a baby, nobody can change it. AI cannot replace it or change it. And that's
Yeah.
going to be my superpower in some way,
Mm-hmm.
to keep um, that balance on AI and hopefully more on the right side, like on my favor, my family's favor, because I have boundaries well set and communication with my daughter about AI. So just trying to use it in a positive way and with responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna ask, that's a good. I was gonna ask, like, I was gonna ask about what's the difference between protecting children and preparing children for AI. And I hear you saying a little bit of that.
Mhm.
For other people, what do you think? What's the difference between protecting children and preparing children? Oh, let me drop in the chat.
I don't want to take over, Laura, but I'm going to just keep my two
I
cents
mean,
real
I think this
quick
one
if
is
you don't
fairly
want to.
simple for me because it goes this way for all of life with my kids. Like, I'm not going to hide you from or hide it from you, right? Like, we have to have conversations around it. We have to teach safety around it. There is a active real life experience that happens with using these technologies. So it's a learning experience, it's in real life, and just knowing what's out there. And that means, maybe I have to spend an hour once in a while researching the good, the bad, and the ugly so I have the resources to answer those questions for my kids. Because this is something that you, me, my kids, we're all going to butt up against, whether or not AI continues down this trend or it becomes safer. We just don't know, right? So, how are we going to prepare them to know how to use it safely, think about it, like all the things, again, layers. Like, Like I've got to go through all of them with them. And if something comes up where I'm like, hey, what are you using? Like one of my kids was using a chatbot that was programmed to interact with them like one of the characters from a TV show that they watch. And I was like, cool, can we have a conversation about this? Right? Because you just don't know what's programmed into that, as opposed to dropping something into a chat GTP. There are some regulations around those compared to what could be in a chatbot. So it's a lot of in real preparation or in real life preparation.
Yeah. I try not to be, I try not to be, I try to be flippant because you said that, Laura, and it made me think about my daughter who is 30, 31. And she shared like she had that sometimes she talks to the chat or whatever. And
Oh yeah, I mean,
I was like, be careful with that. And she's like, Mom. I was like, yeah, just be careful with that. Like, I don't
it's
know.
got a
Chat
place.
boyfriends, huh?
I mean, it's
Who's
got a
gonna chat
place.
boyfriends?
No chat boyfriends here, anyways, but it's got a place. I mean, I have used it with my coaching programs,
Mm-hmm.
and like that allows me to run stuff through it that maybe I might have missed because I've programmed it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that as a human, I have to go back and check it, right? Like it still needs a human set of eyes. And so chatting with it once in a while, sure, because maybe I miss something. But it's not human. It misses the empathy, it misses the emotion, so that connection is very stunted in a way.
Yeah.
I think that from my,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I think that from my, my Mexican side, I was just thinking, how I was raised, and I felt that, you know, um, I was really overprotected with all the love, you know. But then my life experiences were a little bit different, and some a little bit harder because of that,
Mm-hmm.
being overshell. And as how also I see AI, right? If I ever protect my daughter, that sometimes um I really want to do that. I just wanted to hold her. And you're just going to be next to me all the time, and you're not going to see anything that I don't want you to. Um, then I'm not making her a favor, right? I'm depriving her of getting new skills or thinking
Mm-hmm.
critically. Um, and actually, just as her human right of expressing herself, of wanting to explore the world, of learning new things.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally agree with Laura on the conversations, right? Like, and we talk about this. This is new. Because I do that also with my daughter. And sometimes for me as a mother, I mean it's more work. I'm not going to say that sometimes I'm like, oh my God, now it's something else new that I have to look into that. And there have been times when I say, please don't use that until we go over it
Yeah.
together. Because
Yeah.
it really at times is a little bit frightening to me.
Yeah.
And again, it comes also, when I have conversations with other parents, it just seems to that comes from my family culture,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is very valuable, right? And very respectful, the family cultures of others too. But um, I think that just get the courage to go through that, find the time as a mother to explore what's new in AI and let her use it or use it together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that is adds value to me on the life of my child.
Yeah. Something you said resonated with me. It made me think of because we have that access to so much information, it made me think of it made me think of me every time I hear something now, I'm sending it to my daughter and she's like, Mom, I'm so overwhelmed. She's like, I have too much stuff. Please stop. I'm like, oh my God, watch the kids with this. Oh my God, watch the kids with this. Oh, what? Yeah, she's like, please, mom, please. She's like, it's too much. It's too overwhelming. And I had to step back and I said, I'm sorry, you're right. That is like, that's me, being a grandma, and then realizing that that's probably a little overwhelming if I keep sending her 1,000 things to watch out for every time I see something with AI. Like, don't let that be your boyfriend. Don't, who is she talking to? Are you verifying stuff? Are you researching stuff? It's a lot. And it's this conversation is making me think how important it is for me to prepare them by having the conversations, but then also how to protect them by having the conversations so they're knowledgeable. And it feels like just like anything else, that parents are introduced to with their kids and they have to talk about and have those hard conversations. I saw somebody else put that in the chat too. I think it's not that different. At one point, my mom didn't want to talk to me about sex, but maybe she should have. Do you know what I mean? Like, if we'd had the conversation, it probably could have prevented a whole lot of stuff. But because she didn't know how to have the conversation, we never had the conversation. But I watch my daughter now having the conversations about everything, and I love it. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I need to practice that. So somebody said, do parents use family networking tools such as parent control apps? Like iPad has it on the new iPad. Is anybody using those networking tools? The parental control apps.
I mean, personally, I did when the kids were a little bit younger. I have a preteen and two teens, and we've talked so much about it. And the problem we ran into was there were certain things that we allowed in our family that was a little more adult content that they still couldn't access then if I had those things on. And so at that point, it was a conversation like, I'm going to trust you that we've had these conversations about you being able to watch X, Y, and Z. But if it's not that, or you run across something else, either you need to let me know or scroll away or whatever it is. So there are some boundaries there. And that's a big leap of faith with teenagers.
Yeah.
It's a big leap of faith with teenagers. We've had one thing come up since then, but I can go back and check their histories. Like, we also have the rule that if we don't have privacy and parenting protections on, I can get your phone at any point in time and be like, let me see who you're talking to, let me see what you're doing. And I've only done that twice. Right? It's an understanding. And realistically speaking, even as a parent, there are very few things I don't have on my phone on lockdown where if I were like, here, you can have my phone, they're going to run across something either. So it goes both ways to an extent. But just so many conversations. I never thought I was going to have to talk as much as a parent.
Thank you for that. That's so real. I heard somebody talking about family link. I have my kids put me on Life 360. I travel a lot for work and I'm a foodie. So I'm usually chasing some type of food when I'm, out of town, when I get off work and they're like, Mom, you just can't be like outside in the streets. We don't know where you are. You lose signals. And I'm like, oh, but I'm looking for food. So they put me on Life 360. I actually sort of like it. And there's another one that my daughter has where she can check her children's, like, she can see everything on her phone that's on their phone. Does anybody have that? Like, I don't know what it's called, but she has whatever they do on their phone, she can see it on her phone, which I think is freaking cool. And just shout out to everybody who is violating your children's privacy. I just want to say, for the sake of children, I remember when my kids were younger, and there was this big conversation about, you know, respecting their privacy and not just like, no, like what? And then, do you know there is actually right now, they're still trying to create laws to protect our children on from AI, like to protect their information. So like from age 8 to 13, they're protected, but from 13 to 17, when the kids have when they're using those things even more often, there's nothing to protect them. Do you guys know that? which is crazy from the law perspective. There's nothing to protect their data, keep them safe. It's right now was from 8 to 13, which is crazy. Which is crazy because what? AI is moving faster than our government can move to keep them safe. So when you think about your children at school and things like that, what responsibilities does the school have before introducing AI tools to families that you think?
I don't know what the school district's requirements in Illinois as a whole or the country as a whole,
Mhm,
but where we're at, they actually don't allow the students to use it at all.
mhm,
So it's actually blocked on most of my kids' stuff, and you have to go through quite a few layers to try to even get it on there. Our personal computers are different, but that's how our district has handled it so far.
wow.
I
What
know that in
mhm,
I know that in years back, in Oklahoma, my daughter did have access to ChatGPT, and then the school realized that it was really not beneficial for the kids. So thankfully got blocked because they were using it to really complete, their tasks, their school tasks. And so that was not helpful. That was, like I said, years back. But I'm glad that they really don't have access because I really believe that they will be missing opportunities, right, to develop
mhm,
like basic skills um, that they need when they're, like the writing, the thinking, the creating,
mhm,
you
mhm,
know, just good processes, to complete their homework, but also different activities, right? Like
mhm,
organizational skills. So and I guess I can go on and on and on part
mhm,
on that way, but I personally I think that other than helping children, to recognize that that's not helping, like blocking that, I
mhm,
think that the responsibility relates more in parents. That's kind of the culture of my family, right? Is is the same way that guiding them around right and behaviors.
mhm.
I think that that is really my responsibility, and I'm thankful with teachers who give support to my child, when I'm not completely there or I need something. But I'm the mother,
Mhm.
and I'm the one who, in general, think that know best, how do I want to guide my
Mhm.
child, and therefore I just need to do the work. I did sound very forcible. Can you tell that I love my child? And I was like, I'm Mama
I did
Bear
ask that.
when it
I'm the
comes to
mother.
things. I'm the mother on that. No, and the fact is that the school doesn't know also what is your family culture, right? Your values. And
Hmm.
so it could be easy, and I have experienced some things, right? When teachers have not necessarily intentional, but they have cross boundaries that they should never have.
Hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. I think that um I'm so glad to hear the most apps are blocked in Illinois schools, which is fantastic. I am thinking that those schools, it may be blocked for children, but not necessarily for how they access and share information and what they provide. So, like right now, a school could use AI for several different reasons. They could be using AI to gather information about how to best provide services for you or your children, your families. They could be, um, they could use it to like adapt different curriculum for languages, right? There's a lot of ways that school systems or organizations can introduce these programs or AI to schools. Like, I think that's what I'm thinking about. Like, how when they come to, how should an organization introduce AI? I think that it should be talked about. I think the parents should know if they're using it, if they're using our children's information to create programs, the data from our children to create programs, which would be crazy. But also, it can lead to biases in schools. It could lead to, racial, economic, or language biases. Um, the data can be monetized by schools and organizations. So I think that there is a place for it. You can use it. Schools and organizations are probably using it in some way. I think it's important that parents are aware of it, that they know about it. Like, do the families give consent? How is information being used? And maybe ensure that parents can opt out of those services if this provided, if it's using their data, because that's another very real issue. It's like data. How are you using my data for, why are you collecting my data and how are you using it? AI collects a lot of data, like a lot of data, which is pretty scary. Um, I'll just tell you this. I'm thinking about, okay, this is for free. I'm sharing this information. There is a website called True People. True People Search. Anybody heard of True People Search? If you go on True People Search, it has your whole life history on True People Search. Like, it will show you every place you ever lived, your apartment number to where you currently are, your telephone number, the telephone numbers and the address of everybody who's ever been associated with you. It is pretty scary. What are they doing with our data? The first time I saw that, I was horrified because I saw one of my really good girlfriends who is super private, super private. She's like she's a super private person. And I put her name in, and here comes her address with her apartment number. I'm like, whoa, what if you have a stalker? What if you have something against people? What is it? Restraining order. Like, why is all of my family's information on this thing? So as we're introducing AI into our organizations, into our schools, we need to be thinking about how are we using, what is the purpose of gathering this data and how will we use it? And making sure the parents are okay with using this data and how you're going to use it, that there's like a consent form. So I just want to talk a little bit about AI in service of our relationships. At Be Strong Families, we believe technology should strengthen relationships and not replace them. What is one way that AI has helped you be more present as a parent rather than less present?
The couple of ways that it's helped me is that because I'm an entrepreneur on top of working with Be Strong Families, I use it in a way that it can help lay out like my marketing schedules and stuff for my other work so that it's not something I'm having to constantly track, which means it's not on my brain, I'm not setting it up. But it's a basic task that like used to take up so much of my time. I can do all the creative work and then I just have to have the scheduling and the posts and everything ready to go. So that is super helpful. I also use it for like recipes and stuff, like meal planning and chore stuff, because that's something that I feel like I can outsource that to a robot. Help me plan my meals for these picky eaters, come up with some recipes, help me figure out what chores I need to make sure I've got done based on what's on my brain, right? Lay it all out so that I don't have to do that particular work, right? It just makes those jobs a little bit easier as a single mom of three. So, yeah, those are the areas where I feel like it was safer for me to incorporate AI versus just giving it my whole life history.
Yeah.
I think on my side, um, I have used it for the cooking part, right? And I have used it also. So I'm not a big fan of cooking. You know, I know how to cook from scratch, and that's a lot of work at times. So um, I have used it with my daughter, so we get to cook something quick and together. You know, so at the same way that I teach her a skill, and we talk about like when she has her own house and she wants to invite people to come over, she will have a menu and something easy, and that is the buy-in for her, right? Like when she's independent and she has her own house and those days. I have used it also, the translator. Um, I
Mm,
was recently in a trip, and um, the translator from Japanese to English, that was very helpful, I have to say, and fairly accurate. So I have done also my work on, set a good translator for they're going to
mhm,
say great things. Um, I can see also how I even use it in Spanish, because even though I'm bilingual, sometimes there are words that in
mhm,
Spanish I'm not translating, but I'm looking for something similar in English, depending of what it is. So that has been very helpful too. And to create routine, right,
mhm.
for my teen. She I asked her to do that, to come up with something. And when she's like, "Oh, mom, I don't want to do this." So it's like, well, you have some sources, so think about it. And then she will come and will let AI use it based on the basis that she provide, and then she will review it, right? She adjusts some of the stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and that has been helpful because has avoided us fights
Yeah,
and has helped us with um, time efficiency. That is always welcome in our house for sure. So
time efficient, true, facts. Facts. I don't, because I don't have my Misha babies all the time, then I don't get to use it like that as often, but I have definitely found that it's made me more efficient at work. Because like Laura mentioned, stuff is happening so quick. I can just like throw it in there, toss it. Stuff I used to spend hours like, oh, what's the right way to say this? Oh, how do I say this? Oh, let me change this. Now I'm like, oh, that was easy. Remember that button you used to push from Staples? You're like, that was easy. So now I'm like, huh, okay. But it also has allowed me like to finish early so I can get done a little bit early on days I need to get done a little bit early. It's like really saved a lot of time. So I am grateful for that. I see people asking or adding ways that it allows them to be more present. And so I'm loving these. I'm going to research an idea or topic. Thank you for the reminder about recipes, flyers for school-based organizations, community organizations, flyers for fundraising. Yes, they do some great flyers is another way AI works, right? Sending it out to everybody if you're or your whole network or your whoever's in your database. Taking pictures of insects for parents, and we learn cool facts, creating I hate that word, caricatures of us together to laugh at. Yeah, can you think of any other ways that you would use AI either for your work with parents or in your parenting that would be useful? Whether it would save you time. And we are almost at the end, so I'm going to move us down so we can let me add just a few more questions. So I heard you guys say, what do parents need to learn right now to avoid being left behind? What do parents need to learn right now to avoid being left behind? I'm gonna drop in the chat. Feel free to answer, guys.
I can't think of any one thing in particular, but I think that there's so much research about AI coming out and how to use it and how to program it. for me, it's not even about what I have to learn. It's just taking the time to have an open mind and to be willing to do the research, to like read into, okay, what are the benefits? What's the cost? What are the risks? Mm-hmm. And then putting those against my values and my beliefs as a human, right, for me and my family. And that's going to vary for everyone because we're not a huge AI family, but we use it in very small doses, because we've been doing that. We've been looking into the research. So that's why I mentioned earlier, like, just set some time aside to actually get involved there and see what's going on.
Yeah, thank you.
I will say that, reading about how AI is affecting our world in general, what are the cons of AI, of, let's say, more like not using AI with responsibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the amount of energy that AI requires and water to cool those machines, and how it's affecting, our world.
Mm-hmm.
So from my family, I think that's something that we keep trying to keep up with, in the sense of when we are choosing AI,
Mm-hmm.
we look at it as, is this really helpful to us? Is this going to improve the quality of our life? Or it's just for fun that can hurt the world that I'm going to leave to my daughter, because she's the one who's going to hang in here longer than I. I think that could be something. And I think, like Laura said, just in general, be aware of what's coming up new. I think especially for young people,
Mm-hmm.
the access to that. And that, I think that would be it from my point.
Thank you. This is our last question. Okay, I'm going to put in the chat. This is how we're going to wrap it up. If AI becomes one of the most influential voices in our children's life, how do we ensure parents remain the most important voice?
I think that being close, to them, like maintaining that connection, that true connection with them, having conversations, spending time one-on-one, using AI to take care of the tasks that are repetitive, so it can give us more time to spend quality time with our kids, building that trust that we have worked through, Bell, since they were little. And I think that in that way, the children will be fine, because they will come back to us and ask us, what is happening. If whatever they're seeing, it's okay, or just share, what they are finding now as a new AI tool.
Yeah. Thank you guys. So somebody put a question in the chat, so I want to acknowledge that before we move on. She said, do you think not allowing proper use of AI in schools, especially upper level grades, could be a disservice as students move into certain career fields? I'm currently in a I/O psych grad program, and there's a huge emphasis on the inevitability of AI and the need for organizations and employees to properly use it. And I would say in that case, it would be a disservice. I think I sort of agree with this question. I feel like if schools and organizations can't get a handle on AI, then maybe it might be good to like stop it and bar it from everywhere. But then there has to be a space for it too, because it is evolving. 10 years from now, imagine what our world will look like with the use of AI. And they need to learn how to use it responsibly. They need to learn how to use it responsibly. They need to learn how to use it effectively. They need to know not to depend on that and not to lose this, because this is super important. But I'm just gonna say as a way to sort of wrap up, because we are at 12:56. Our last question was how do we stay influential and make sure that that the parent's voice is the loudest voice? I'm gonna say it's really relationship. We have all this stuff that's coming on with AI, and we can be afraid of it, or we can choose to face it head on, have hard conversations with our children, do our due diligence and learn how to, even if we don't know all the things AI can do, learn the basics of AI so that you can communicate with your children and you can share your concerns with them while teaching them like how to use it responsibly, just like with anything else, because nothing can replace relationship with our kids. Nothing can replace, we have all the answers. We know our children. AI doesn't know our children. We know our situations. AI doesn't know our situations. They can pull from all the other situations around the world, from the from the laptops and the World Wide Web, but they don't know our situations and our children like we do. They don't know those nuances. And so I think that the most important thing from this conversation, thank you, Lori, for remembering to drop that, is just to be able to have the conversation and to remember that relationship is everything. Relationship with our children, relationship with the school systems, being able to talk to them about how they're using our data, what's the plans for it, all that great stuff. It's really relationship, and AI can't replace that. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's conversation. Can we please give Marisol and Laura just a huge round of applause and thank them for having this conversation with us? There was also a poll that just came up. If you can do me a favor and fill out the poll for us, we really appreciate it. Laura, can you put up the TOC? Thank you, Marisol. Thank you, Laura. This is a really great conversation. I have a lot to think about leaving today's conversation about how I'm going to protect my own kids and prepare them and not stress my daughter out, sending her a bunch of stuff about AI. Also, this is wait for Laura to get to the Taste of Cafes. I don't know how many of you guys have been to Taste of Cafes, or if you've not been, please join us for one. We have some coming up in July. We the People, Sunny Side Up, it's a Vitality Cafe. We the People is part of More Perfect Union Cafe. Feel free to join us. Next slide. Scan the QR code. Thank you to everybody who came out and joined us today. Thank you for Lori working our tech. Woo woo. If you are, we know today is the last day of the fiscal year for so many of you. We do have the shop. Feel free to go in and grab you some goodies before the school year is over. And then follow us on everywhere. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Choose your poison. Scan it. We'd love to have you. And then check out LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, check out the Be Strong Families page. We have a really great article. I tried to share here, but LinkedIn wouldn't let me. We have some great articles from our CEO, Kathy Getz Wolf, or Kathy Wolf. And, sorry, Kathy Getz. And she has some great articles on parenting in the age of AI. So check those out. And then if you really enjoy these webinars, do me a favor and donate every once in a while, because these are offered at no cost, and we want to be able to keep doing them. So please make a donation. We really appreciate it. And it was good seeing you. It's always great seeing you, Erica. Thank you. Thank you guys, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys.